everything they possibly can and want to do, they're just not going to be enough of them ever to have a cop on your shoulder. You know, the bumper sticker says, I carry a gun because a cop is too heavy. And that's, I think, what comes out of all this. And we've got to push back on our employees who have the incredible view that they can tell us we can't have a gun to protect ourselves, and tell them that either they get it figured out right or we're going to get somebody else in there.
But, I mean, what about the message that we're not going to respond to burglary, home invasions, we're not going to respond to people being poisoned when someone poisons them, we're not going to respond to extortion, we're not going to respond to sabotage. I mean, this is a green light to go absolutely ape in Oakland, California.
Well, you know, even in an anti-gun jurisdiction such as Chicago, it kind of surprised me, but the state several years ago, in fact, Obama voted on the wrong side of the measure. The state has a law that preempts what cities can do when someone uses a quote-unquote illegal gun, meaning it wasn't licensed, but of course you couldn't get a license for it anyway, and they use it in self-defense during a home invasion. The cities are prohibited from taking such an individual to court. And 3 times in the last couple of months, individuals have used handguns for self-defense. In at least one case I know, they shot and killed the invader. Nothing could be done by the city. As bad as Daley wanted to bring charges, couldn't do it. And so that's one way to legislatively handle the problem, is just make it so that you can't touch us if we have done something in self-defense. And, of course, the better laws are those in Florida and Texas and some other states, the so-called castle doctrine, where your home is your castle, and they've taken the castle to mean anywhere you are. So if you're out in a parking lot and some thug is trying to rape you and you pull out a piece and blow him away, well, that was just his bad luck.
And it shows the mindset, though, of what we'd call liberal or communist jurisdictions. Did you see the case last week? I know you've been out of town, where the 82-year-old vet, the guy was robbing him, taking his trailer, tried to run over him, 2 illegal aliens. So he shot one of them, just wounding him. And then they let the illegals go, even though they pled guilty to stealing it. And they charged him with murder, not manslaughter. The old man with murder and life in prison because he defended himself. That sounds like something out of London.
Yes, it does. And I know that there's that temptation for some prosecutors, even in a state like Texas, where a situation a couple of years ago, the facts were a little different, but the thugs were running across from his neighbor's house across his property, and he blew him away. And, they spent 6 months trying to figure out if they could get a bill from a grand jury on that. And they finally dropped the charges because the Texas law is so clear that you can use lethal force if you have any reason to think your life is in danger. When you got a couple of thugs seeing you there with a shotgun cutting across your property, and a cop actually happened to see it and said, yeah, that's what happened, then that's the way it ought to be. And we'd reduce the criminal population a lot more quickly that way than having to endure years and years of appeals and trials and great cost and injustice, frankly. Justice delayed is justice denied.
Well, Larry, we know in Chicago and New York City they have the highest crime rates. The criminals all move there. It's a war zone every day. We know that common sense, but we know the globalist. We know Sarah Brady's on record saying we can't have a socialist America until we disarm the American people. We know for UNIDIR at the UN, they say the power monopoly of the state, everyone must be disarmed. State Senator Obama believed in total gun bans. The Attorney General believes in it. We know that they want our guns to enslave us, but the average moron who's scared of guns, who's domesticated, who was brought up by domesticated, gelded people, they're not really bad, they're just ignorant. And it's just like people who wouldn't let folks hunt wolves or coyotes or wildcats or alligators in, places like major cities in Florida. Now they're killing people. They're killing dogs. They're coming into yards. Now even the socialists are saying, yeah, somebody kill these alligators. Somebody kill these wildcats. They just killed my kid. Kids get killed every year because they like small prey in California. and now wildcats are all over L.A. trying to eat people. It's the same thing. They take the guns, crime rates explode, and I've seen all the statistics. We're becoming a pro-gun nation again and rediscovering why it's so important. That's got to make these social globalists, these parasites, angry that either way you cut it, we are shifting the momentum against them. You are correct. The polls have been over the decades showing a trend in the direction of the understanding and wanting to apply the Second Amendment. And this is something that is totally inconsistent with the socialist worldview. They assume that they take charge of all, at least important decisions in our lives. And for them, an important decision evidently is what kind of food we might be allowed to eat. I don't have anything to say in behalf of junk food, but if somebody wants to do that, well, less power to them. It's okay with me. It's not my job to tell somebody what to eat. So that's the mindset of these people. They are control freaks. And getting back to your earlier point, they might, as you say, be upset about an extra wildcat in the neighborhood, but they don't have a problem so much with criminals because criminals don't operate within their gated communities. They'll be safe almost all the time from the criminal element, and so it's an easy price for them to pay because they don't have to pay the price. The elite in England hasn't had to pay the price of the rising crime rate following the confiscation of virtually all the legal guns in the country. And even though crime has multiplied, literally multiplied, the rich and famous don't ever get to see that. It may be on television, but it's never something that affects them directly, so it's no big deal. And they use our tax money to pay for government and private security. Larry, what about the realignment? Pro-establishment Republicans and Democrats are losing every major primary. This is a major political realignment, not in parties, but for liberty. The system is panicking. Obama is in free fall, and some of his top advisors are saying Obama needs another Oklahoma City or 9/11. That's pretty creepy to hear that. What do you think Obama and his people are going to do? They're not going to give up power easily. It is a worrisome thought, and columnists are beginning to speculate that something like that might be in store. Obviously, he brought us a financial crisis thanks to years of incredibly stupid legislation, making banks give loans to people they knew couldn't pay them back. But it's pretty hard to get a financial crisis that's any worse than the one we're in. So, indeed, the question would be, what's next? I think one thing we've seen a little foretaste is election thuggery, particularly at the general election, chasing away Republican voters with the new Black Panther Party. Well, those are amazing tapes that are out there. Let's talk about Arizona when we get back and treason. I mean, Obama, I don't know if you've seen the Senator Kyle video. We could play it for you if you haven't, but he's saying he met with Obama. Obama said, I want the crisis down there. I want to get amnesty passed. I need that crisis. I mean, if that isn't an impeachable offense, I don't know what is. Larry Pratt's our guest. Stay with us.
Remain in your houses. The President of the United States has declared martial law under Executive Order 11,004.
Will they do it? Will they pull the trigger this time? We all pray they stand down, but an engineered crisis seems more likely with each passing day. Think it can't happen here? Executive Order 10990 locks down all highways. Executive Order 10995 seizes control of all media outlets. Executive Order 10998 controls all farms and food supplies. All these executive orders are now cocked, loaded, and waiting for the right crisis. So if you're worried about the possibility of martial law here in America or have questions about how to survive it, go to martiallawsurvival.com. That's martiallawsurvival.com. Go to martiallawsurvival.com right now.
You must remain in your houses until your bracelets are scanned.
The Fall of America and the Western World is an all-new 10-hour documentary and survival guide rolled into one. In this film, you will see the reasons why our government is failing and what you can do to prepare. Featuring Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, Joseph Farah, David Icke, Naomi Wolf, G. Edward Griffin, Doug McIntyre, Mark Crispin Miller, Mickey Z, Doug Casey, David McElvaney, and myself, Alex Jones. Protect yourself and get the tools you need to protect your family from these difficult times. The Fall of America and the Western World at www.thefallofamerica.net or click on the banners at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Again, that website's www.thefallofamerica.net or call 800-655-1577. Prepare yourself and the ones you love today. Fallofamerica.net.
On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, housing, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power. A gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686